Hello everyone and welcome to a special edition of a StarCraft 2 replay cast. This one will be a 2v2 and actually this time we have Tang versus ProTech. Now both these players do have a random opponent, so Tang will be teamed up with a Terran player Tado and ProTech will actually be teamed up with self-titled, so I'm going to call him Titled, I guess. And Tang, we have been seeing a lot of lately on my channel because his games are so awesome and I love to see his progress towards becoming a great StarCraft 2 player. ProTech, we have actually also seen on my channel. He is a 2v2 player. He almost plays exclusively 2v2s. Now, he is not a pro because 2v2s obviously do not have a pro league just yet, but he did have 5 accounts last season in the top 15 worldwide in 2v2, so he is definitely a reference in 2v2 play. So we are going to have quite a treat. Tang, if you are not familiar with him, he is Grandmaster this season. He has been playing a lot lately and has a very popular in-game channel called Tang StarCraft, so join that channel if you actually want to have some friendly games or just get some tips. Tang saying that it is Protoss and Zerg. Of course, Hack ProTech is a Zerg player. He always plays Zerg, but I guess his ally was random, so that Tang and Tado, did not know what he spawned at. A Zerg player is actually almost a must in 2v2. It is not a must, but it is so good because a 10 pool is actually so effective in 2v2. Not necessarily because of the cheese itself, and by the way, I have to say that 10 pool is not a cheese in 2v2. It is actually so standard, but simply because these initial lings at this point will be able to keep map control and prevent these armies from actually joining together, and really that is so important in 2v2s. If you can keep your opponents separated, you will have the advantage at this point. So 6 lings making their way inside of Tang's main base. Tang does have a slight advantage at this point because he is defending, so these lings actually had to walk across the map, and Tang was able to squeeze out an extra drone or 2 while Hack ProTech actually just sent these 6 initial lings to his base. But again, these are so important because they will prevent these 2 armies from actually joining together, and meanwhile his ally I forgot what I was going to call him, let's just call him T will actually be able to do whatever he wants behind this. So he's getting another gateway as well as mining from 2 gases. Meanwhile, Tado has actually walled off, and this is actually quite dangerous. Walling off as a Terran like this prevents you from actually engaging your opponent if he puts on a lot of pressure. Tang wisely producing a lot of lings here, going to be able to just push these ProTech lings back, and speed almost done for both these players, finishing as soon as these 2 armies collide. And now actually ProTech will be forced back to his base to actually produce more lings because Tang is absolutely going to push up here and try and apply a bit of pressure. Meanwhile, their 2 allies are respectively just hacking up so much. We actually see a Twilight Council going up for a T, and look for Blink to actually start soon enough. There it is, Blink. So he is going to be very stalker heavy, but Tado, way ahead of him, is actually getting almost exclusively Marauders, and with Concussive Shell, this is going to make the it's gonna make the Stalker army so hard to actually micro and run away with. So really, I do feel like Tang and Tado have the advantage at this point. 21 to 23 Harvesters for their allies respectively, but 11 to 12 Harvesters for Tang and ProTech, and this is actually looking to be a very normal 2v2. So believe it or not, if you're not used to 2v2ing, this is actually so standard at this point in 2v2, simply because you have a whole bunch of lings trying to get map control. With the Terran Marauder support, this might actually do a lot of damage. These lings going to try and get a surround on the Marauder. Tang and wisely coming back to actually deal with his lings because he does not want to engage these zealots while they are in this very narrow choke. And really nice control by Tang and his Terran ally, but I don't even know if this will be enough. Really, ProTech has to engage this along with his T because he has lost a lot of Zealots for nothing. A lot of Marauders actually reinforcing this, and this might prove to be too much for T and ProTech. These Marauders doing huge damage to the Stalkers. Blink is done, so they are able to micro back, but with only a single Stalker, that is not much. Tang actually saying Rage Tech because ProTech is actually sometimes a bit aggressive, so I guess it's not the first game he plays against him, and ProTech has shown some bad manners or some aggressiveness in these games. But in general, ProTech is a very nice player, I should say. It depends on the day, I guess. But the Banelings now making their way, not going to be so effective against Marauders, and really that is just not many Lings to deal with, so I question the decision of actually getting Banelings at this point, but really Tang and Tado are looking so good right now. All the Harvesters going down for the Protoss player, and he was actually the main force of this 2v2 team. ProTech was supposed to put the pressure and prevent this from happening. Meanwhile, he had to tech up as these two players did. I mean, usually in 2v2, when there is a Zerg, the Zerg is in charge of preventing the armies of joining together and putting on the early pressure while your ally is actually going to tech up, so that if a Zerg actually loses his base, it's not that big of a deal, and your ally can actually continue on single-handedly. Unfortunately, the Protoss player lost, and Tang taking yet another game against ProTech. So this was actually a good example of a standard 2v2 if you were wondering what it looked like at the pro levels or close to the pro levels. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this 2v2 cast. If you did, post a comment and I will be casting more of those.